What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you get an opportunity on the way out, drop a comment. It's really going to help us out here on the channel. What I'm currently doing is going through and tying up all of the loose ends here in 2024. It's been a substantial year for us. It's the year where we've shook ourselves loose from the lunar grasp, from the TFL grasp, from the grasp of Do Kwon and the court case itself. It's done and dusted at this point. You're probably going to hear a little bit more about it in South Korea. You may see something pop up when Do Kwon is finally extradited, but we're putting ourselves in a position as a blockchain where we're no longer attached at the hip. That's the whole idea behind LUNCDash and putting a pin on the map. That's what's so powerful about this ecosystem right now. There's a lot of us that aren't running in circles anymore. Instead, we're going in a straight line into 2025. We know what needs to be done, and by God, we're going to do it. So talking about all of these loose ends, everybody's asking me, Jay, have TFL fulfilled their obligation to burn all of the assets that they had available? And what we're going to be doing in this video is we'll look at the assets, we'll look at the burning, we'll look at the LFG assets, we'll look at what's remaining, and then we'll talk about the future, 2025, and how USTC and those remaining assets could really affect our future in a positive manner and in a negative manner. So what you're currently looking at here is Terraform Trial Exhibit P301, but this is my customized version where I'd gone in and I'd done all of the in-depth data analysis work. We looked at all of the wallets, we figured out what ones had burned, what ones haven't burned, and at this point in time, I can safely say to everybody, any wallet in this list that had assets worth burning have been burned. TFL have completely 100% fulfilled their obligation. The Anchor and Mirror protocol assets were something that they themselves weren't obligated to burn. Effectively, they weren't required to do that. But it was down to us as a community to go in and say, hey, these need to go before they cause some kind of damage or somebody gets access to them or another chain benefits from that same exact move. Now, with that all being said, again, TFL, I can't stress this enough at this point, have 100% fulfilled their obligation to the burning of LUNC and USTC. So where does that leave us? There's really nothing to tie off when it comes down to TFL now. The remaining assets that are available are all to do with the LFG reserves. And LFG, as we know from the court case, is a separate entity. And all of the people that handled the TFL court case, the bankruptcy court proceedings, the wind down are not responsible and they're not part of the board. In fact, Do Kwon was the only one that was effectively on the board and could make decisions. Again, TFL are not in control of LFG, so therefore they are not required to burn it, nor do they have the permission to go in, nor did they have the access to go in and burn those assets. So with that being said, where does that leave us? That leaves us with the one person that we have as a point of call, which is Do Kwon. As we know, Do Kwon is now effectively not allowed to do anything. So regardless of what Chris Armani said,
I think that, yeah, no, I mean, I think that was the thing that Doe wanted to do, right? Like, just to be clear, like Doe had said that he was going to try to figure out a way to do some kind of like, take the assets that were in LFG and give them back to
the holder some way.
Yeah, the original Terra Classic community.
Do Kwon is no longer in control of LFG, and I can actually provide a bit of evidence that shows this change reflected. What we can see around the 29th of October 2024 is a reserve balance of 140 million United States dollars. By the time we reach the 4th of November 2024, we can see there's only around 59 million United States dollars remaining. And you're saying to yourselves, well, Jay, where did that money go? Well, what we can actually see is all of the AVAX, BNB, and the small amount of USDC that was available has now gone. So what does that leave in the LFG reserves? It leaves the BTC, which is around 313 Bitcoins, and then the USTC is around 1.86 billion. And just hiding below there at the bottom, you can see 222 million Lunar Classic coins. Although it says Lunar, they are Lunar Classic coins. 222 million of them really isn't much. What we are most concerned about is that 1.86 billion USTC, and why did they not liquidate it? We could understand them not liquidating the BTC. Of course, BTC is in a pivotal moment where it possibly could go up a considerable amount, but 313 BTCs is going to make a big difference when you're trying to sell out on those peaks. So I can understand that. Again, totally understandable. Why didn't they liquidate the USTC?
Why? Why?
Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of answers to that question, but that is not what we're interested in when it comes down to these funds. We could chase our tail in circles over and over again as to why didn't they burn these funds, or we could do something about it.
I choose to run toward my problems and not away from them.
And the most important thing right now when it comes down to these funds is that nothing changes. That they are not used or utilized in any way, shape or form. And more importantly, our blockchain doesn't go on the offensive. We do not have the liberty of going on the offensive. We are a decentralized ecosystem with no central point of authority. We have a lot of listings on all of the major blockchains. It would be very, very silly to poke the bear that is the SEC. And that's just me thinking about the bigger picture. Now, does that mean we can't do anything? Absolutely not. You could blacklist these funds. Now, yes, there's a lot of ins and outs, and I'm really, really bastardizing the whole thing when I say we'll just blacklist the funds. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but it's doable. More importantly, it is a reversible action. If the SEC does in fact come chasing those funds, we can simply put a proposal through to unblacklist the wallet. And maybe they come to the blockchain and they say, well, actually, we wanted to put these back into the ecosystem. How do we best do this? These are all of the different possibilities in the future where you simply don't want to burn your bridges. Because when you burn those assets, someone and a few people would say, well, Jay, actually, we could just remint them in the future. That would be very, very detrimental, just as detrimental as the SEC going ahead and just selling all of the assets, or as many of them as they could, and fill all of the order books on a market-wide scale. Again, this is all of the different things that we're trying to avert, and we're not trying to create the next kind of Groundhog Day. We're not trying to poke at the bear that is the SEC. A lot of things could happen in the future. Again, we don't want to burn any bridges, but we have a responsibility to ensure that these coins do absolutely nothing. And people say to me, Jay, what's the best thing we could do with USTC? And my honest answer at this moment in time is nothing. It should be left alone. Nothing should happen with it, period. It's as best as it is going to get at this point. I'm working on another video where I'm going to go over the court documents, and I'm going to prove to the overall viewership here that USTC itself, being UST at the time, was bailed out on 2 occasions, once by Jump and then again by Chai. Both of those bailouts tell us that the overall product wasn't working. This is why it needed to be bailed out. Kind of like banks in your everyday life, right? We see a lot of bailouts. We see your country's getting into debt, my country's getting into debt. Banks need more bailouts. The system's simply not working. It's been almost 3 years with 3 different repegs, and I'm not going to stand by and watch a 4th year of repeg attempts of it all to end up at the same repeg attempt. I'm very, very tired of watching the community lured into this idea that USTC can be fixed. If it could be fixed, TFL would have fixed it. Duke One would have fixed it. The TFL team that came afterwards would have fixed it. It's quite clear that USTC doesn't work at this point. And what we can do is focus on what we can control, like blacklisting the LFG reserves. It's such an important point going forward. And just because the SEC hasn't done anything with the USTC that remains in the LFG reserve doesn't mean that we are safe. We are not safe until those funds are 100% not usable. It's a considerable amount. It's a very, very high percentage. And again, it's all within the confines of the blockchain's control. It can be done through governance. It can be organized in a decentralized manner. The biggest difference is, and this is what really irritates me about all of the USTC repegs, is you've got this issue here, right, with the 1.86 billion in the LFG reserves. You've got a considerable amount of USTC in the Oracle rewards pool, which would flounder any USTC repeg attempt because of the fact that we've all got free and easy accessible USTC coins. Whales would have probably built up a lot of them. The bigger validators will probably have a lot of them. And I can honestly say not one of these repeg attempts have addressed these issues, nor have they addressed the fact that USTC itself has been deemed a security. This was also one of the answers I really started to circulate around quite a lot. They didn't sell the USTC because it's a security, so therefore they would be breaking a law that they have enforced. It's a bit of a weird situation. It becomes quite contradictory when they're allowed to liquidate an asset that has been deemed a security by you see where I'm going with this. It's very peculiar. All right, you guys, let's round this video up just here at the end for everybody. TFL have fulfilled their obligations to burn. 100% of the burning has been done. TFL and Do Kwon have now ejected completely from the crypto ecosystem, from the Luna ecosystem, and they are never going to return as ordered by the courts. It's very important that we understand that they have 100% fulfilled their obligations to burn. We went ahead as a community and made a decentralized decision to burn the Anchor and Mira assets. The Shuttle Bridge assets were also burned. So again, TFL 100% fulfilled their obligations to the LUNC community, and Chris Armani did not lie to us at any point. That's such an important part of this whole video. Now, what we can see with the LFG assets is the liquidation of the AVAX, the BNB, and the USDC. This leaves the USTC, the BTC, and a very, very small amount of Luna Classic coins in the LFG reserves. If anything happens with these funds in the meantime, I will be sure to update you all. There is going to be a follow-up video to this video, and I'm going to explain to everybody exactly what we need to do, what the process is, and how we would go about blacklisting these funds. So keep an eye out for that video. And aside that, guys, just stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and I'll catch you in the next one. Shoo!